Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys. It's been a while since the last time I made a video. So I've been on camp lately, so I just came back. Or I made this recording during the camp, and I'm going to post it inshallah once I get back home. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of my experience and how this is related to the Aqeeda topic. Okay, so while I was on camp, here's what happened. The camp is just for 3 weeks, like a military, paramilitary sort of thing. During this camp, we are engaged in a lot of activities, a lot of physical activities, waking up early, like your days are packed full with activities, almost having no time left for you to do anything. So what does this do to, what does this mean this is related to the Aqeeda topic? I would like you to link it to something I watched a while ago. I might put the video here or in the beginning of the video, or I can even give you a link to that video. So in that video, it was a scientific video about time, about the concept of time. And funny enough, just as how time is something that is like controversial in the field of theology, it's also very controversial in the field of like pure science. So now, where am I going out with this? So in that video, the scientist, I think his name is Green or something, I'll find it, he explained time in 3 different levels. Okay, he explained time in 3 different ways for 3 different groups of people. So you have a child, he explained time to the child in a way that the child can understand. He explained time to someone that is not really a scientist in a way that they can understand. That someone that is older but is not a child and is not a scientist, in a way they can understand. Then he explained time in a way the scientists will understand and the other ones wouldn't understand. However, it is the same concept of time that we are explaining, and it is you cannot explain time to a child the way you explain it to a scientist that has been in the field for long and has deep experience. So where am I going at with this? Here's where I'm going. The same thing is related to the Aqeeda. There's some people, they cannot understand it. Like the Aqeeda topics and the disputes that we have, they cannot. Even if you give it to them, they will not understand it. They would have to have studied and gone deeper into it. So that is why it is not a requirement for them to understand all the arguments and all the ways to prove things. They just need to understand on their own level and not make presuppositions that and not make presuppositions that are beyond them. So for instance now, like I've always said, it all comes down to spatial temporality when it comes to the field of Aqeeda. I told you guys. The problem I have with the Taymiyyah Salafi Aqeeda is that they are claiming something. They are saying that God is spatial temporal. They are saying it for the layman, for anybody, that God is spatial temporal, okay? And they appeal to the common sense notion of the common people. However, they have gone beyond it. The common sense of the common people is not tajsim. The common sense of the common people is not tashbih. The common people have a very simple, base knowledge of things. They don't go into depth. They don't go and say things. So the Athari and Hanbali Aqeeda would capture that more than the Salafi Taymiyyah Aqeeda. Do you understand? That is why I said that there's there's no problem being Hanbali Athari, because you're not going to go into depth. You're not going to say what the Quran says or what the Hadith says. You will not say things like spatial temporality is absolutely necessary. That is something a philosopher would say, and that is the problem with the Taymiyyah Salafi. And once you get to that realm, you are in the third category. So the Kalam philosophers will challenge you, because them, they are working on that. And the Kalam scholars, they might be assuming that they are teaching something contrary to what the common people understand. No, the common people are not going to understand what they are teaching unless someone is ready to step up and gain knowledge and then go into depth. So it's the same thing we are teaching, just like the issue with time. The child, once he grows up and is interested in learning more, he's going to gain more knowledge, right? And he's going to learn those things himself. So you get what I'm saying? So don't expect the child to understand what the scientist that's been in the field for years, and you explain time in that way to him. So for instance, take your parents. Your parents don't understand these Aqeeda topics. They're not going to understand it. Go and meet them, Go and meet a random guy on the street that's toiling. By the way, let's tie it back into the fact that I'm in camp right now. There's literally no time for me to do anything. That's why I've not been making videos. That's why I've not been contemplating a lot about anything. So there are people that their lives are like that. There are people that their lives is just toiling and working and thinking about the next day. There are people that are responsible. They are not like having a lot of time or enough time with themselves to think about these things. That's why scholars are employed. They are literally employed to do this. They are employed to use the time that they have not toiling to think and to like help us like address those issues. So anyone that's against Kalam, he just doesn't know what he's saying, because that is literally the job of the scholars in faith, in Aqeeda, in many other fields. Now, if you don't understand it, there's no problem. But you don't say things that are tarnishing, that will tarnish your position. Because once you say something like spatial temporality is absolutely necessary, then you have gone into the realm, the third level. And you cannot then say, I don't want to discuss this. You have to come there and defend your claim. And you cannot appeal to the common sense people anymore. You've already left to level 1. The moment you say spatial temporality is absolutely necessary, then you've left the third realm, the first realm. You're in the third realm now. Okay, so I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So the first point is that common people are too busy, are too occupied with tasks and events and activities. They don't have time to reflect about all these things. So they are not materialists, they are not mujassima or mushabbiha in the sense of the technical sense. They just, if you tell them something, they just accept it on a very, like, how will I say this? What's it called? What's this term? Allegorical. They use all those terms without even knowing. They just apply it, like, okay, fine. But to make a claim that they are mujassim mushabbiha, they are not. Because they're not even doing that. They're not even thinking about that. It's the Taymiyyah Salafi or any other person that then goes beyond the apparent that the Hathari and Hanbalis will accept, that will not say things about God in and of himself, that God is spatial temporal necessarily. Those are the ones that are Mujassim Mushabbiha, not the common people. And now, I don't have a problem with that. I've already said it. If you're a Taymiyyah Salafi and you want to defend that position, no problem. However, don't appeal to the common people. Just like, imagine the scientists, and this, by the way, this is what am I even saying? Let me tell you now. This same problem is happening in the field of science. What I just told you now. Those 3 levels, there are some people, when the scientists start arguing at the 3rd level, some people start appealing to the common sense of the child. That look, the child doesn't understand time that way, therefore my theory is right. They do that a lot. I'm telling you, if you're well read, you know that the scientists that do this. They'll be like, the common people don't understand that atoms that way. They don't see atoms, therefore some atoms don't exist. Those kind of arguments, they are rhetorics. They're not real. Because once you get into the the real deal of the high level physics or chemistry or science, you cannot appeal to the common sense people, because you've left it. You've left the common sense people notion. You have gone into depth. So bring your theory if you think it can stand. Don't appeal to the common people. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say in this video. And this is probably the only video that I will record, of the audio of the video that I will record while I was in camp and experiencing this thing right here. Even that I had time to like post videos. Sometimes I make 2 videos a day. Somehow I couldn't make one while I was in camp because I was occupied with activities. So in a way, maybe you have that time is actually a blessing from God, so that you will go into depth. Don't cut yourself short by appealing to the common sense people or the common people on the streets that don't have that time to go into depth. So you Salafi, or you that you're trying to stop, you don't want to do Kalam, I'm not saying you should do it, by the way. I'm not saying you should do it, but don't ever think like you're making use of your time that you actually have. This is a privilege that God has bestowed on you for a particular amount of time. Something like a camp can happen to you where you lose that time and you don't have time to reflect. Just like many others. I don't want to make the video too long. We'll stop at the 10 minutes mark, and when I add the other video that shows this thing that I just told you about, the 3 levels, you can tie it in together, you guys. So I hope you guys understand this video is very, very important. That's why I'm making it. So see you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.